Hello, friends, and welcome to another figure study where we appreciate the form in Transformers. And today, taking a look at Titan's Return Hardhead. Now, not really all that familiar with Hardhead, to be honest. The handful of headmasters that I was familiar with back in the day are basically Brainstorm and Chrome Dome. And then I kind of on the periphery knew a little bit about some of the Decepticon ones, but never really even knew Hardhead existed as a headmaster until Make Toys released their own version. Was it last year? Well, anyway, now we've got this one, and I really like this thing. This sort of H-tank looking thing. It's really pretty neat. I mean, I'm into the dark grayish black and green and orange canopy color scheme. This slightly beige gray that they have going here, like the color looks good. It's kind of interesting how it's just like this strip of green going up the middle with like just the darker colors on the sides. It's an interesting kind of color distribution, but it's all right. And of course the green does get broken up a little bit with this sort of hatch looking thing in the front here, which is silly because you've got the cockpit right back here. But whatever. And of course, being a Titan's Return figure, there is a lot of really nifty molded detail that just adds a little bit more visual interest to the parts that, like even just the parts that are solid colors. It looks really good. From the back, not so much, but from other angles, it looks really good. And I will not stop saying how much I really do like the texture that they add to these figures. The underside even looks pretty good too. It doesn't look, doesn't necessarily scream, this is a robot, which I'm always into. And pop this open, take out the Titan Master, just so we can take a look on the inside here. And of course, there is actually a decent amount of molded detail on the inside as well. And here you can see with the just with this open now, you can see they even molded in some nice detail on the cockpit door, window, whatever itself, which is really nice. So yeah, the tank mode looks good. It's kind of an H-tank, but kind of not. I kind of like how these are close together, but not entirely connected. And I definitely dig the asymmetrical look with the giant cannon off to one side and the hatch off to the other, which I know is how he always looks, but I like it. I like the way he always looks. So move him out of the way so we can take a look at the Titan Master. And as per usual, going to completely ignore the giant face on the back because that's going to come in robot mode. But Hardhead's Titan Master, whose name I don't care about, also looks good. There's a lot of really nice molding going on here. There's unfortunately a lot less color. I don't know why Blur is the one who got all the paint on his Titan Master, but he looks all right, and he's got that like little Hardhead looking face there where they even painted the eyes blue, which is kind of impressive, honestly, because it's very tiny. Yeah, he's green legs, green arms, green head, gray jumpsuit looking thing. But again, it's the tiny little molded details that I really enjoy. He's not a bad looking Titan Master, but of course looks even better in robot mode, which we will take a look at right now. Now this chunky dude I like. I am definitely a Hardhead fan now. He's he looks really good. He's got some much nicer color breakup. I like how you've got the green for the torso, and then it kind of is mirrored in the hands. So there's a little bit less green, but it's all confined to very specific spots. There's a little bit of yellow in the waist, which is mirrored in the face. A little bit of red, which kind of you can say are in like the little Autobot logos and the wheels. And I actually kind of like that those wheels are that reddish orange translucent plastic. There's something about having just that little bit of color down there that I really like. And then of course you've got that continued like olive-ish gray kind of thing all throughout, which again, looks good. So, thing I really also like about him is how you can kind of play around with him a little bit to adjust his proportions. Like right now, I'm not too fond of how the arms are hanging, but if we get that out of the way real quick, you can just kind of slide these up just a little bit, and they actually give him a much nicer looking silhouette. Like just having the shoulders up, just that little bit of extra height makes them much more interesting. And then of course, the one thing that bugs me about his arms are the way his hands kind of stick out just there's like that little bit of a wrist there that's like, it's weird. You've got these big tree trunk looking arms, and then there's just like this tiny little wrist, and then it goes on to the hand. I'm not too fond of that little narrow bit there, but I do appreciate how it gives him some wrist articulation. But yeah, overall, he is a really cool looking like beefcake of a robot, and of course he's got the giant cannon over his shoulder, which can unpeg and be used as a weapon, but I definitely prefer to keep it on his shoulder. And he is pretty posable, but honestly, I just like leaving him, you know, here, like standing all imposing looking. Like, you don't want to mess with this guy. So, taking a look at his head, from what I understand, it's pretty typical for a Hardhead head. Get that gun out of the way. And it looks good. I mean, you know, I like the yellow and the blue. I actually prefer this over the Takara version. I like the faceplate over like the more normal like nose and mouth looking face. And yeah, I really like how that grayish whatever it is kind of continues on to the chest, how you've got like a little bit of black there that's also in the arms, and this little strip here that just kind of breaks up that green a little bit more. And yeah, just the color distribution on him is nice, the color scheme is nice, and of course he is covered in texture, which a lot of this is stuff that you see in tank mode, but it's even more apparent in robot mode, and it is greatly appreciated because I really like this stuff. It is looking good. And I mean, again, like you can see, they even molded stuff in on the thighs. He's got a tiny bit of molded detail on the insides of his feet. I mean, come on. That is pretty cool. Really, I think the only thing that they flubbed on him is just the Autobot symbols. He's got these like small Autobot symbols on his shoulders, and then this really, 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 really small one right there, which seems utterly pointless to me, but whatever. Ultimately, he just looks really cool. And I mean, you don't even need to pose him. I just really, really dig how bulky and imposing he looks. He is a really nice looking robot. And I am very glad that I was able to get my hands on him. Whether or not I prefer him over Blur, that's kind of just varies from day to day. And I do ultimately think I kind of prefer him over Blur just because he's got that extra bit of bulk to him, and he looks a little bit more like a guy you do not want to get on the wrong side of, which I am totally not planning on doing anytime soon. And one thing I want to check, just to make sure, because of what I've been saying before with their ridiculous molded detail stuff, and yep, there's even a little bit of molded detail on the underside of all this stuff that goes inside of his torso that you never ever see because it's either covered up by tank bits or folded in on itself in robot mode. So, good job Hasbro and Takara with just putting details in everything, everywhere, all the time. I dig it. So, I think that's enough glorifying the stocky bit of awesomeness that is Hardhead. Thank you everybody for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.